and let's get on to our pages. Now I haven't even worked out. We probably should do that, shouldn't we? Work out what our, I always find if you measure the book block that came out, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 of an inch. Oh, what's that? 1.5 centimeters. And we know that our pages are going to be, I've got A4 paper, so I don't need to trim the top and the bottom. I do need to trim it this way. So I need to trim it. Oh, my trimmer. Oh no, my trimmer's in centimeters and inches. I always measure both because one will be easier than the other. I can also go like if you're making it yourself, you can also go like this and go, yes, I want it about there. I will be trimming the block after I've done it. That way it can fit and I can see. So I've got that like 13.9. So our pages are 13.9 centimeters, which is in inches, that is 5.5 exactly. And the height of our pages so it's 8 and 1, 2, 8 3/8, or in centimeters 20.8. Oops. So if you're cutting your pages, that's how I measure my book. You can, these tend to be stuck in there. When you have a handmade book, you'll find that this measurement, the width, will probably go down a bit because I don't have a press to press my signatures to make them really flat. So because of that fold, it'll take it out a bit. So we'll review that once we've made the block. So as I said, I'm going to just fold my pages. Now I've got here, I've just taken it from the photocopier or printer, and it's 100 GSM, 120 GSM. It's A4. I don't know what that is in it's only in GSM. I don't know. Sometimes the paper will have both metric and imperial, but sometimes not. Now I am just going to, how many pages do I want per signature? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see how 5 goes. Now normally I would do each page individually, but I know that I'm trimming off that edge, so I'm just going to, I think that's enough. I don't think we want more and I don't think we need less, so I'm going to give it a good burnish. And once I'm doing these, I'll be able to put them all in here and see how many signatures I'll go. So I'll just fold and pile them up. See, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you can measure and work out your signatures. But, you know, there's lots of factors that will muck up those calculations. So the thickness of your paper. So if I was using normal copy paper, which is 80 GSM, I'd be able to fit more signatures in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, the other thing, this the gentleman of the house that we went to yesterday, my husband's the property manager, which is why we got to go in there, and he's got to refurbish it all for the students and get rid of all of the stuff. So he was the gentleman who's just left was an architect. So I've got all this lovely big paper that was just left in a drawer. I'll be able to make some lovely books from it. And oh, the stuff they left, oh my goodness. But I've got next weekend I've got a workshop called Jolly Wrappings, and I was going to just buy brown paper, and we were going to use magazines and newspaper, which we still will use magazine and newspaper. But I came home with about 20 rolls of Christmas paper, so waste not, want not. So I'll be using all of the paper I got for nothing. Okay, so can you see if I put that there? It's a bit thin. I can probably, what have I got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I probably can put 2 more signatures in, because remember with the Coptic binding, it's very close. Have I got oh, I've got one here. Can you? Oh no, you can't because of all of my fluff. So when you do the Coptic binding, it, as opposed to your pamphlet stitch, the signatures are held quite close together. So another 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all of this stuff that I got is all sitting outside my craft room under the deck, because I have no idea where I'm going to put it. I was so excited. I just kept, yes, I'll have that, I'll have that, I'll have that. And I have no idea where it's going. There's just, I haven't got any room. Obviously means I need to get rid of some things, which I am actually working my way through. Slowly. Okay, so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And remember the Coptic, when it sits like that, it's up, but the Coptic stitch will bring it close together. So that, I think that's good. It's a handmade book. You will never get it like this unless you've actually got a press, which I don't have, although I have a carpenter husband. He probably could make me one. I'll fold some more papers and see. So we'll probably put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just thought it would be nicer to have paper that was a bit more substantial than your normal copy paper, and a bit better quality as well, for writing her poems in. There's 8. I usually like to have an odd number, but you know, see how we go. No, I think that's, yeah, don't think I can do 9. I can fold it, the paper won't go to waste. No, reckon I can do that. Okay, we're going with 9 signatures. Right. Get rid of my paper. Out of the way. Put you over there to dry, Mr. Cover. And my daughter, her baby wipes back. Right, now I often will take one of the pieces that has come out of the book, because I know that it's the right size, and that's what I'm going to use to make my punch guide for the hurls. Get that out of the way. Right. This is where I use my centering ruler again. And her sideways so I can see both sides of the ruler. 10.4, 10.4. So there's my centre. Now, gosh, I've been doing so much pamphlet stitch, I've forgotten how many. Oh, yes. I mean, as long as you have an odd amount, otherwise you won't be on 3, 4, 5, 6, yep, 7. Yep. Actually, this is where I do like I said, I swap between inches and centimetres, but let's see, that's 4.1. There we go. So there's our centre, and I'm just going to 1, 2, 3. That makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, no, that'll be good. So we'll do them 1 inch apart. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Oh, I really do need one at the top, but we'll have to make that one a bit shorter. So we'll make it 3 7/8. 3 7/8. Okay. I'll put some big dots there so you can see. Oh, go back in there, please. Thank you. With a pen so that you can going. So hopefully you can see those. That's going to be where I'm going to punch all of my holes. Now I have a punching cradle that my husband made. I can remember years ago going to a class, and they got you to line it all up, and you punched one, and then you just you drew lines on there, but I found it not quite as accurate. So I'm going to, gosh man, you've got stuff everywhere. Stuff away as you go, girl. There we go. Right. So I'm going to punch these using the cradle. It's really simple. You butts up to the closed end. I'm going to better write top on there, so although the writing's up the right way, just in case I have a Mandy moment. And yes, and see, because it's slightly shorter, it's a good idea to have top there, so that's okay. But then I can just go and punch it through. It only goes so far because you can't go too far because the way that he's made it to my specifications. So there's the holes punched all nicely. Now you need to make sure you keep the tops at the top. So I'm putting it to that side. Top here, butt it up to there. Put my punching guide in, hole guide, whatever you want to call it. Because with the Coptic, it's very important to have your holes lining up on each signature. I'm going to see, I'm putting it straight across there, tops, bottoms. Right, well, I'll do these and I'll be back when I finish, because you don't need to see me do it 9 times, do you? No. Okay, done. So you can see all of my lines are beautifully lined up, and we can start stitching. So let me go and grab my needle and thread and wax it, etc. Okay, I'm back, got all my gear. Now, with the Coptic stitch, you often can sew it and have an exposed spine, and you start off onto the cover, but we're not doing that, so because this is going to go into the cover that I have prepared from the old book. First of all, I'm just using a number 20 crochet cotton, 100% cotton, and I'm going to run it through my beeswax. So I like to do at least 2 lengths per signature. Okay, sometimes a bit more, and then a bit more for knotting. So 1, 2, and a bit more. Okay. And you do have to be careful because you'll end up with a big knot if you're not too careful. But run it through the beeswax because that makes it nice and durable. And I usually do it twice when I don't know why. I just do. You don't have to. Probably once is enough, but I think I just like to make sure that I've got beeswax on everything and a nice coating of it as well. There we go. And you'll also want some either giant paper clips or clips. It just helps, it's like a spare pair of hands. When I'm sewing using the Coptic stitch, I like to use a curved needle or a mattress needle. Well, depends on where you are, what they call them. Because I've got such a long thread, I do double it over a fair way. So it just helps when... Okay, so the first signature is different from any of the other signatures. And if I had not just plain papers, if I was using digitals and like junk journal style, I would start from the back. But because this is all plain paper, it doesn't matter. So it's personal preference. There's no right or wrong really. So we're going to go up and down and into all of these holes. I like to start with the second hole because the spine won't be seen when it's in the cover, then I can have the knot on the outside. If this was being seen, I would start on the inside of the signature and come up through that first hole. And for this part, the curved needle was actually a little bit of pain, but you'll see why it's a godsend when we start to do the next lot of signatures. So do be careful pulling your thread through because you don't want to make your holes bigger, and you also don't want to rip the, because you know you could rip it up like that, so you don't want that either. So well, it's very tempting to go all the way to the end and then just go and pull it through, but don't do it. In there and it comes out, and then we're going to go back in, sort of like doubling up all the, like I said, the first one is different from, the first signature is different from the rest of the signatures. I'm just making my thread down, so we're going down, so we're going to end up on the inside. Each one is going to have thread, same on the outside, and you'll see why we need it in a momento. I'll fast forward this bit. I'm just at the other end. I've just given that a little bit of a tug and a little bit of a tug on that one. Not too much, just enough. If you come in here, they're all nice and tight. Now I'm going to I can come in and do this after, but I need the knot to stay at that first hole here. I can't have it halfway down. So usually I would put the needle in and knot it back up, but we'll just do it like that so that doesn't loosen off. So see, I've made sure the knot has stayed there. I'm not going to cut it off yet because I don't want it to accidentally come undone. Now, work slowly because you've got such a long piece of thread. Okay, so there's my top, and here's my top coming here. What I'm going to do, this is where your clips, you can either put 2 bulldog clips on, or you can, hold it with a big paper clip. It doesn't matter. But we're going to go in. Oh no, I've turned that upside down. Look at that already. Yes, I have. So here's my top here. Remember that. My top is not where I started. Okay. So I'm actually going to turn these over because otherwise I'm going to go like that and it's not going to be right. Okie dokie. Back to the plan. So we're going to go in the hole, the first hole, and come out the second hole. Okay. And then if you're, doesn't matter whether you're right or left-handed, because you can start at either end. But when you do these little chain, almost like a chain stitch, make sure whatever you decide you want to do it the same, because it looks really nice, even though you're not going to see it, I know. But so this is where the curved needle comes in handy. You can go, I'm here, I can go under there and, whoops, get that piece of, and back through there, and I'm going to end up going back into that hole, and because I've got the curved needle I can do it all in one. My hand in, so whoops, I'm twisted here. Oh, there we go. I'm going to go back into that hole and I'm going to pull it through. So you can join your thread if you haven't cut it long enough, but I like to have it as a continuous thread. I guess also when you're putting it in and you're not going to see it, it won't matter because you can just do the knot along the spine and no one's going to see your join. I'm just putting that down. I was always taught to have the same amount of, not to join your thread, to try and have enough for the whole book. And so it's what I do. Okay, so see how I've come out, under, and back through the hole. So it's just a little chain stitch, which I haven't pulled enough there. I think I twisted it actually. Oh, it was stuck because of the beeswax. Of course. All right, you need to be like an octopus when you're making a book. You really do need extra hands. because we've run the thread through the beeswax, it tends to also get a little bit knotty, so you do have to be careful. I've got 3 threads. Oh, I see. It's going around the book. And oh no, I haven't. I say I've twisted myself, but I haven't. So what's going to happen, I'm just going to tighten that one a little bit. But because of the beeswax and because you're looping it, you can tighten each stitch as you go. And it's a very tight book binding, the Coptic stitch. So under, I think I'm going to, while I've got such a long piece of thread, the first couple of signatures, I'm going to do this one bit at a time. But as the thread shortens, you'll find you'll get into a rhythm and be able to just do it all in one. And then I can see it's loose, but then I can just tighten it and it stays tight. So, next one. Under. Under. And back through. Tighten, slightly tighten. All right. So I'm going to fast forward some and then I'm going to cut it out and jump to the end, because otherwise you'll be here for hours watching me do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. All right. So we'll fast. I'm sitting on it now. I'll fast forward some of the stitching and then I'll jump to when I've finished. So. I like to go under the signature before here and then go through the first hole, because otherwise you're just going straight up and you're not, you haven't got that tension, and the end signatures can be a little bit wider than and not as close as the others. So you can see it's kind of like almost like a half hitch knot. Oops, well, that's a real knot, isn't it? Come on, there you come. Now, I don't know if you've ever done embroidery, when you go in and out and you like cross stitch or whatever, your thread tends to do the old trick when you're at school and you wind and it winds back on itself. Well, that will happen with your thread. So every now and then you will just, if you just let it dangle from the book, oh, this is getting caught because of the beeswax. There we go. You just let it dangle and it will just unwind because it tends to wind on itself. Which is what's happening at the end here. Right. Pull that through. So, can you see it's come under, no, it's come under this thread from the first signature. I've looped it under and then gone into the first hole of the third signature. So I do that when I start a signature. Of course, that'll happen at alternate ends. All right. Okay. So I'm going to just, you can see my needle twiddling around there, twirling around because it gets caught on itself. So I had to do it over behind me onto the floor so that I had enough room. So, and then of course once you start your next lot, it's exactly the same. But just remember, so remember I was going that way, but I went from the left to the right. So I'm going to hold that out of the way there. Hopefully you can see. This is where the curved needle is fantastic. So remember, I was coming here and I was going left to right under the thread from the first signature. So I'm going to continue that left to right, but I'm going in between the signatures underneath. So it's where the little chain is between the first and second signature. So I'm going in there, I pull it through. Oh, and look at all of that knotting again. Oh, joy. One day I'll buy myself the proper linen thread, but there's no guarantees that I won't get all knotted anyway. And back into the hole. Okay, I'll do it again and then I'll fast forward. So out the hole, left to right and between the signatures. It's not usually this knotty. I don't know, maybe it's the weather because it's a little bit warmer. And back through the hole. Okay. And you end up, you get this, like, it looks like a little knitted or twisted chain stitch, and it will just go along the end. All right, I'll see you at the other end when we will knot it off. can see how nice and tight that text block is. So to finish it off, I'm just going to go through there, and I'm going to go through again and do my double fishing knot. So looking good. Now, if I was a professional bookbinder, I'd pop that into a press, and which would squish that all down, but I'm not, so I'm not, and I don't have one, so I'm not going to. But you can see how nice and neat that is. Can you see, like it almost looks like a row of knitting or chain, crochet chain, and on each of those it's nice and neat. You can see I haven't, because this is going inside the spine, I didn't cut this all the way down. And the other thing I'm going to do, just not that I think that it's going to come undone, but books get used, open, close, so I'm just going to run a bead of glue just down the stitches. I don't want too much, I don't want it to go into the holes. This is just art glitter glue. Oops. Oh, there she blows. I'll just rub it on with my finger. Being art glitter glue, that's going to dry very quickly. All right. Now, plain pages, so it actually doesn't matter which way my text block goes into my book. Right, let's see how it's going to fit. Oh, look at that. Made to measure. So, of course, I need to trim my pages down that way. But now that I've got my completed text block, I can see where they need to be. And I'm not gluing that into that. It will be floating. Or will it? No, the good thing with Coptic binding is it lays flat. Doesn't matter what page you open it to, it lays flat. So I could, what's the Rivantador? I could poke it in there. But that would be the end page, and then that would be the end page. Don't know. Thunking. Thinking I might do what I did with this journal, and on the front here I printed out double-sided. This is from the Graphics Fairy, and then that just is your cover page, and that becomes your end paper. I did the same in the back, upside down. Clever Mandy. Yes, I think I might do that. Okay, so we'll have a look. I'll be back.